Well, it's good to be back in the youth room for this new series here. We're starting it off today, and it's titled The Struggle is Real. And life is tough. Let's just face it. Let's just say it out loud. Life is tough. Have you ever heard someone respond to someone's complaint by saying, first world problems? Like, my house is too big for my Wi Fi signal. Or, I want something from the vending machine, but I only have 20s. Or the one that brings my hand to my forehead in shame is my hand is too fat to shove into the Pringles container, so I'm forced to tilt it. The idea is that we live in a country that is so rich, or hashtag blessed, as so many people say, and technologically advanced that we shouldn't have any reason to complain, and yet we still do a lot. After all, there are people out there in the world who have to live off of just $1 a day, or who don't have clean drinking water, or are dying from diseases that we have a simple shot to take care of or prevent. And so, that being said, even with all of our cool gadgets, you would think that life would be much easier, but the truth is, it isn't. In some ways, it's even more complicated today than ever before, and we still find ourselves struggling with the same thoughts and emotions that people struggled through thousands of years ago. We have feelings of inadequacy, or failure, or loneliness, or doubt. We lack patience, but we become bored really easily. We hate authority, but we look for someone to direct our lives into something meaningful. We want opinions, but we get angry when those opinions don't match our own. We get frustrated and scared and confused, sometimes all in the matter of a few minutes or hours. We are complex creatures, so why can't we just figure life out? Unfortunately, I don't have some magical answer to solve all your problems, let alone mine. Next week we're really going to dive into some of the reasons that life is tough. But today, let's just acknowledge how tough life is. So take a deep breath, call your therapist, and look at some scripture that can give us a bit of wisdom and perspective to help us cope and understand a few things along the way. So 3 things I want to share with you real quick. Number 1, life doesn't revolve around you. Okay? Nor does it depend on you, right? Real shocker. I know that we know all this, but sometimes we still act as if it's true. According to James chapter 4, verse 14, it says, "You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes." It's important to keep things in perspective. If others are waiting for something that you're also waiting for, you can wait too. Oftentimes we single ourselves out thinking that we're the only ones suffering, when in fact there are people all around us with similar thoughts and feelings and emotions and struggles. And in fact, when we take the focus off ourselves and we begin to look after the needs of others, our problems seem to lessen, and sometimes they even disappear altogether. Just saying the words to yourself, "The world doesn't revolve around me," can be incredibly freeing and calming. It's a burden that you don't have to carry, and no one is asking you to. Number 2, expect speed bumps. I love that scene in The Emperor's New Groove when Kuzco and Pasha, after escaping the jaguars, they end up tied to a tree floating down the river. And Pasha, all of a sudden he says, "Uh-oh." And Kuzco, the ever pessimist, responds, "Don't tell me. We're about to go over a huge waterfall." Pasha replies, "Yep." Kuzco, "Sharp rocks at the bottom?" Pasha, "Most likely." Kuzco, "Bring it on." You ever have one of those days? And, if life weren't tough enough already, if you're a Christian, you can expect an extra helping of toughness because you are being called to live differently than the rest of the world. In John chapter 17, verse 16, Jesus says that believers are not of this world. There's a lot of tension built into being called out of the world and into a heavenly focus. And even Jesus warns his followers in John chapter 16, verse 33, saying, "In this world you will have trouble." In some ways, expecting things to not go perfectly can soften the blow. But at the same time, we don't want to promote pessimism. So just take life as it comes. Okay? Deal with things one thing at a time. Jesus also gave his disciples the best assurance in the world, saying, "But take heart, because I have overcome the world." Many Christian lives have ended in tragedy. Following Jesus is not, believe it or not, a golden ticket to an easy life. I mean, come on, he died on a cross. And he asks his followers to do the same, to follow him, to take up their cross. But when you have eternity in paradise with Jesus to look forward to, you will gain more than you lose. Number 3, life isn't fair. You know, anytime I hear someone complain about something not being fair, I just automatically think, yep, that's life. There is no great cosmic equalizer. There's no karma, in spite of what you hear all the time. You don't get what you deserve. And sometimes you get what you don't deserve. Does that make sense? There's actually nothing in this world that you have earned or that you deserve. Everything is at the mercy of God. And so thank God that he is merciful. More than likely, someone will always be stronger, faster, or smarter than you. But who says that life is a competition? In fact, it's not. It really is not a competition. God values you for who you are because he made you. He doesn't always like the choices that you make, but you should definitely gain some confidence from knowing that you are loved even on your worst day. The truth is that if God gave you what you truly deserve, Romans 3:23 says, "The wages of sin is death." And so thank God once again for rescuing us from ourselves and not giving us what we deserve. So no matter what you're going through right now, no matter how tough you think life is for you, you need to know that God is with you and that God is for you and that he will be with you through whatever you're going through, and he loves you and he wants to see you succeed. So that's it for this week. I hope that you will tune in next week as we start to discuss and dive into why is it that life can be tough sometimes and what can we do to help. All right, that's it. See you next week.